Hello, everyone, and welcome. Matt, we are here actually in our historic district of downtown Dublin, and of course, a former Dublin City Council. Growing up in Dublin as we did, I've always loved this historic district, even as a young kid riding down Bellevue.
I love it. I wish I could live in it.
We can't, can we?
We're going to tell everybody where we are.
We're at the Page House, and of course, Friday our country turns 238 years old, and the Page House isn't that old. It was actually built in 1903, so I guess, 111 years old, but beautiful. It's weathered the test of time, hasn't it?
It's beautiful. I mean, they kept it up great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We appreciate Kelly and Janice Kennedy always let us have full access. Matter of fact, they left us here by ourselves, didn't they? But like I said, Friday is July 4th, Matt, and I mentioned our country having a birthday. But what does that mean to you and your family, Independence Day?
Well, the 4th, from a family standpoint, so we've always gotten together as a family, and we used to go to the beach when I was growing up, and I think my family, we may go to the beach this Friday the 4th. But first we have to attend the festivities in Riceville, so we'll be there, and then we'll probably head down to Florida. But it's a great celebration of our independence and the forming of this country.
Yep.
So, I mean, you can't forget that. So
and we've weathered the test of time. And you being in the legislature, you've got an education the last few years, I would think, on how our country really works, haven't you?
Yes, how our state works and even how our country works. And you see the many things that take time and patience to get accomplished at the state level, and you can just imagine what it's like at the federal level. So.
Well, you served on Dublin City Council for quite a few years and served on a lot of committees, but one in particular, the Downtown Development Authority. And we just had the Young Game Changers, which did a great job in our community the last 6 months and brought forth some good ideas. Maybe we can move forward with some of them in the future, but number one, how did being on that Downtown Development Authority help you on the next step once you got in Atlanta? Because you're on the Economic Development Committee up there. How did that get you ready for that?
Well, it makes you more aware of what cities are struggling with to keep their downtowns alive. Some cities are doing a lot better than others, but we've when I was on city council, one of the first meetings I went to, one of the state meetings, was they had a session on downtown revitalization. And I went, and just something stuck in my head forever, and I've said it before, is that if your downtown dies, so goes your city. And that just really hit home with me, and that's one reason I was involved downtown. Still, probably maybe not as much as I was, but I still have a love for our downtown, and it's there's been a lot of improvements downtown in the last few years, and I think it's going to continue to grow and thrive. Constantly recruiting. I know the Downtown Development Authority is always looking for new business to come downtown, professional, retail, restaurants, everything, to try to get a good mix. There's things I know that are happening with even some of the historic buildings down there now, getting real close to making some exciting, announcements, and hopefully those will happen sooner as opposed to later. But all that, it's made me love our downtown and love downtowns, and hopefully doing some, sometimes you can do some little things that will help keep our cities, especially small rural cities, thriving and alive.
And we support all our businesses in Lawrence County. In all of Middle Georgia, we support our local business, not just downtown, but as you just mentioned, you must have that strong downtown. It really helps as far as economic development. But, we support the entire community. And I say that because every time I do something downtown, I'll catch a little flack from somebody.
Well, my business that I have are downtown. But, I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll happen one day. But, you got what happened over the years is you ended up with retail areas and downtowns, and, hopefully there's a happy medium, and I think that's coming about now. So we can't forget all of our retail stores and professional businesses all over.
That's right. No matter where, Rents, right. Dexter, all throughout the community. But you went up to Atlanta, been there 4 years now,
right?
And really, I can't believe you just dove in there. I mean, you're serving on all these committees. You're the majority caucus chairman. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
You're right.
I mean, you was governor floor leader last year. Every time I talk to the governor, Miss Deal, my cousin, he claims me during the election season. You know,
well,
so
I'll tell you,
that's
when
right.
you're up there.
That's right. But so you've got in, I guess, good with the governor because, and that's got to help our community.
Right? It's been, we have a good relationship, and you know, serving 2 years in working with his office and him I learned a lot. And then this year I served as the chairman of the caucus, and that's different. Learn different things.
Mm-hmm.
So
what is that?
I am the chairman of all the Republican members of the House. We have a caucus, and they elect the majority leader, the speaker pro tem, the majority leader, and the whip, majority whip, and the chairman, vice chairman, and the treasurer. We're just the leadership of our caucus, of our group. It doesn't mean that that we're going to tell everybody, what to do. We just try to keep information flowing and keep people informed about things that that we're looking at, that we're wanting to try to do, and then people present other members will present legislation, and it's just a way to vet material up through the process and to make sure you're on, that everybody knows about it.
In each party, like you'll have a minority caucus leader.
They have a caucus.
Right. And I think Alan Peake, don't he serve as treasurer or something like that? Yeah.
Secretary Treasurer of our caucus. And, Matt Ramsey's the whip. Sam Teasley from Cobb County is the vice chairman. And then you got Jan Jones, the Speaker Pro Tem. Larry O'Neill is majority leader.
From over around Houston County, is that right?
David Ralston's the Speaker.
We love Mr. Ralston.
He's been here quite a bit.
Yeah, and the governor also has visited, so they come quite a bit. How did you get on the appropriations committee? That seems to be such. And by the way, I have a list from citizens of things they need appropriated. So I'm kidding. But how do you get on that?
The most important thing we do every year is pass the budget. That's our only constitutional job.
Yeah.
Is to pass the budget, and of course the appropriations is in charge of the budget, and I asked to be on it. Everybody asked to be on it. You work to get there, and this you have a committee of what they call a committee of assignments. The speaker heads that committee, and
but in 4 years, how do you get on that?
Well,
tell it. I mean, just between me and you and everybody watching.
Well, you ask it, and you've developed a relationship with the people that are making those decisions, and they know your work, and
boy,
put a little confidence in you.
Y'all hear that? No, that is a choice committee, though, isn't it? Laying all joking aside.
No, I mean it's the committee that everybody wants to be on, and I serve. There's, I think, 6 subcommittees, maybe more. I'm just saying there's. I'm on the public safety subcommittee, and which involves everything from the courts to law enforcement. Anything to do with our public safety, and their portion of the budget we look at, and we meet with the different agencies separately and ask them what they can do, what they can't do. What can they do without?
Right.
What do they need?
Not much.
And why they need it.
Yeah, explain sell your case, I guess. Right. So, and that's what we should be doing with citizens' money, because that we talk about how good a committee it is, but that's a big responsibility.
Well, and it's been the last few years have been tough, because we were in the recession. I wasn't there when everything
right.
So much the budget was cut like $5 billion. So it's come back. The revenue's come back, but we're still not where we were. And we were able to put some more money in education this year and other places that needed it. And hopefully we can get to a point, in my opinion, where maybe we can let you hang on a little more.
Well, that sounds good. You're on the ethics committee.
Yes.
You asked for that.
That came with the chairman of the caucus.
Okay.
You're automatically on that.
Okay. I wondered when I noticed you were on the ethics committee. I said, that's got to be a tough job.
And there's been a lot of turmoil in the ethics commission, as it always called.
Right.
It's got this long name, but they're hopefully the funding's back in there, and hopefully they're getting their guidelines set up. We did a bill 2 years ago that passed a bill that changed a lot of the rules, and they've had issues within the commission itself. So hopefully they're getting things.
Well, there's not as
resolved.
much. Well, there's not as much. A couple of years ago, it was a hot topic, ethics. And y'all did something about it, I guess. And so it kind of calmed things down. But that's really important when you're serving the public.
Right. So you can't legislate ethics.
No.
It's either you're ethical or you're not, and you're
ain't no law gonna change it.
No, and it's what we're trying to do,
and the voters will decide in this last election. Right. Some of the longest serving people in the Senate, I guess, got beat. So the voters decide in the end. They're the judge.
Right.
Well, we mentioned appropriations. You're on the economic development, utilities, public safety, ethics. Out of all those committees, and maybe something I didn't mention, what's your favorite one?
Well, the one you didn't mention was Health and Human Services.
Of course.
It's Health and Human Services. Health is one of is next to education. Health items are our largest item on the budget, health-related things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I grew up, my dad was a dentist, my brother's a doctor. I grew up around doctors. Didn't become one because I couldn't make it through chemistry. But, it's of interest to me, and it definitely affects. We're all concerned about our health and things with our health care.
So the Health and Human Services Division that's this committee kind of oversees that?
Any policy decision with health and human services, but it's a very there's a lot of complex stuff. So we have very long meetings, and we talk about some really deep things. Sometimes one of the issues is certificate of need, CON, with hospitals and different types of health facilities, and we had a 4-hour meeting on that one time.
Wow.
It's just
isn't it the largest part of is that the largest part of the state? I know they have so many employees, and because I remember my old
employee-wise, I'm not sure.
My dear friend Tommy Olmstead, when he took over that department, he was mayor of Macon, and I guess Zell Miller maybe or Governor Barnes, somebody tapped him to take over, and I was talking to him later on, and he was just amazed. It was just overwhelming, how much the budget and the employees and what all's involved there. So, we got a governor's race.
Yes.
So, have you picked a candidate?
Oh yes.
Now, what do you think about the governor's race?
Well, I think it's going to be you got the Republican incumbent Nathan Deal against Jason Carter. He's a senator. He served. I'm not sure how many years he's been there, but
well-known name,
right? And I, it's a race, and I know there are a lot of people working hard on both sides. And so we'll know in November. And I think it's going to be a good political battle between the two.
Are you going to get the governor back to see us before the
I
election?
would imagine he'll be here between now.
I hope so. He's been between him and his wife 8-10 times, just guessing, but I know several times between the two of them.
I think you might see a barbecue or fish fry somewhere.
Oh boy, fish fry!
Maybe both. I've done both. I did them both at the same time. So
you'll pack the house with that, won't you?
So I hope we have a good crowd.
Okay, we got
maybe sometime in August.
Okay, in the dog days of summer,
right?
Okay, we're going to take a quick break and come back and talk about a lot of new laws went into effect this week. Y'all passed, I guess it's 305 bills, and the governor signed the majority of them.
Right.
And we're going to talk about all 300.
Okay.
How about that? We're kidding.
20 seconds.
We're kidding. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. As mentioned before, Matt, we had a lot of... All y'all do is pass bills. Is that right? You said the only constitutional thing you have to do is the budget.
It's the budget. And we did accomplish that.
So in the extra time, you passed 304 more bills.
Well, that is kind of how the process works. You've got the budget's so complex you've got all these different pieces of it, and you want it to be as accurate as it can be. So, and then, we'll pass the budget for this year now, starting today, July 1st through June 30th, and that's the fiscal year 15 budget. So we passed that one, but we also, you come back and you basically we'll adjust the 14 budget. So, I mean, but we'll adjust the 15, but last year we adjusted the 14. And during all that process, you're right, there's other committees that are meeting, and that's just, it's the filler time, and a lot of resolutions. We have, I think there were over 500 resolutions, which are, done during this 800.
And that takes up a lot, because when I'm at the Capitol, I stand there in amazement. They're resoluting. Everything's resoluting.
And that happens, a lot more toward the first part of the session. And the longer committees meet, the more bills come out of committee, then you got to have more time for actual legislation discussion during session, and you get less of the fanfare until the last day. When the last day, you'll get a good mix of both, because you always have people that are stepping down or not going to run again or resigning for this, that reason, and they have to give all their farewells and things like that. So, the last couple of days are
pretty
very long. And
you there to the last minute, literally.
We were there. We were there this year until I actually carried the last bill on the House floor. So
and what time was that?
It was like 5 till midnight, and it was
y'all eat a lot of pizza,
I don't remember what it was.
What they catered in. But okay, let's start out with some of the new laws or the bills that were signed into law. And of course, I guess one not only in Georgia but across the country. All the national press picked it up. House Bill 60, I think it was, the new gun law.
Correct.
And you probably had gobs of emails.
We had quite a few. You have pretty good interaction with people here, and I think I get a lot of emails, but a lot of discussion too, just seeing people and talking about things.
Keep your ear to the ground. You know what your constituents want anyway. Let's talk about guns, and the part of it people talk about, obviously, is taking a gun in a bar with alcohol, and then quite the extreme opposite is taking a gun in a church.
Right.
So let's talk about that.
Both items are the choice of in the church, the congregation. They can vote, or their church may take a stand. Some of them have, some of them haven't. That you can take it, they can decide. And then in a bar, the owner of that bar has the right to decide whether they want people to have a weapon in their bar or not. And all this being said, is that you have to have a carry permit, which means you have gone through the effort to be fingerprinted and had your background checked, pay the money, and do that. I mean, that's the people don't worry about. It's for the law-abiding citizen that wants to carry their weapon.
That's right.
And that's what it's all about. I've heard everything. I could say a lot, but I'm not. But I mean, it's when you get right down to it, is to allow the law-abiding citizen, which in this case, if they have a permit, they are over 21 years old, or they're 18 years old and have been honorably discharged from the military.
That's right.
So in the military, they've had very good training with weapons, and it's not just anybody that can do it. You have to have the permit on you if you're going to carry it. There are still places where if you have a weapon, you don't have to, at your home, different things. None of that's changed. Right. This is just allowing, if you want to carry
law-abiding citizens.
Right. And even, one of the things I've seen in the news today is at the Atlanta airport. You can, as long as you've got your permit, you can carry your weapon up to the security area. They've changed all the signs today. They're saying no weapons beyond this point. So, in schools, the local boards of education can decide if they want to allow a person permitted by them to have a weapon at school. most of your law enforcement people, if they're in a school now, they do, or they may not, but they're there. They definitely have had training in how to carry a weapon. The school boards have the option now of letting that person carry a weapon, or another person that, say there's, a
custodian,
or say there's a math, some teacher that's known. He wants to carry his gun. He'd like to. He meets the qualifications. He's got a permit.
Right.
They do have to go. The school systems do have to, if they choose to allow a designated person, then they do have to perform a background check annually on that person. Mm-hmm. Whereas you just have to get your permit renewed every 5 years, and then is when you get your background. You don't have to be.
That's for the math teacher or the custodian,
if the school wants to do it, it's the school systems.
Well, hey, we got right here in Lawrence County. We have Mr. Reeves out at Southwest Lawrence. He served in Afghanistan. He come home. He's out here teaching. What better person? And I'm just throwing his name out there. We have former military people teaching in our schools. And with my kids and grandkids there, I'd love to have somebody armed.
Well, and some people don't feel like that.
That's right.
But and that's where we've allowed the local systems.
That's right.
To choose. Mm-hmm. And people need to let the local school boards.
That's right.
Know how they feel. And they don't have to do it. It's the people that want to harm us, they don't care about the law. Mm-hmm. So it's if they do, my hopes, my children there, or if I was there, I personally don't have a carry permit, but I would hope that maybe somebody that's there. Not, that does have a permit might be there, and I just haven't done it. I probably will, but I'm a long gun guy.
Yeah, so, you want your shot. Make sure you hit something. Huh? Well, you introduced a few bills this year, and they went through the whole system, I guess. Right. They're in law now, right?
Right.
What are they?
One was House Bill that involved the incentivizing of doctors to go to rural areas of the state. We have a board, it's called the Physicians Workforce Board, that administers loans to doctors and/or grants, but they're paid back, loans or scholarships. They're paid back by service in rural parts of the state. Well, before this bill passed, a rural part of the state was designated as 30,000, population of 30,000 or less. Well, we got rid of the 30,000 people population requirement, and now the population matters, but you can say, for instance, Lawrence County can now be determined an area of need for a certain specialty, and we're over 30,000 people in our county, so the two boards, the Commissioner of the Department of Public Health, the Commissioner of the Department of Community Health, and the Board of Physician Workforce could vote and approve this area, say, for instance, for some sort of surgeon that we needed that we could get, and it would allow that surgeon to come into our community, and we would pay back up to $20,000 a year of their loans that they took out to become a doctor per year they serve in this area.
Great deal for all parties.
Right. It gets them here, helps them, helps everybody. Mm-hmm. So that passed. I also carried another bill that involved something that's not as great sound as that, but it's the state. Our state of Georgia has one of the highest maternal mortality rates, which is a rate that measures the death of a mother while she's pregnant or up to a year after she gives birth. And we're one of the highest in the country with that. And it's not good. We don't want to be there. So we have established a committee of professionals that will be in existence to review why, how, and look at that continuously through the year. There's something that's been in existence, but it never has been set into law. And we've had different commissioners that Department of Community Health or Public Health that wanted it, didn't want it. So we just something was brought to us, and we decided that we wanted to make it so it would exist regardless. So,
And
unless the law gets approved,
well, and y'all passed so many bills and so many good things, boating safety laws this year, and life vests, things that affect everyday lives,
Right.
because our waterways, we have people killed every year on our waterways, so it's got to be a good feeling to be able to pass things that will protect.
Well, they're not always popular.
Yeah, that's right.
But,
they protect the citizens of the state of Georgia.
Right. One thing you mentioned, the water, and we did have some legislation there that involved Southwest Georgia,
Flint River,
and a lot of discussion about, from a conservation standpoint, on what you do to keep the water flowing if the river really gets really low and it's really dry, and protecting the mussels, and then if that happens and there's not enough water, then it triggers a mechanism with the federal government. The federal judge can do all these things and just do it. Well, that was a long, drawn-out piece of legislation, because you're treading on people's property rights, their water rights. I mean, that piece of legislation went through probably 20 different versions, and it's. I think it reached a happy. Maybe not everybody was happy, and that's compromises were given, and the bill passed.
Yeah.
I mean, it protects what it needs to protect, but at the same time protects the people, and hopefully we'll make sure that there's water flowing through the river.
That's right. So. And farming is so, not just in the state of Georgia, all over the country. Farming is so important. I've spent the morning at the Hogan farm, and they get up so early every morning and work hard for us. Groceries don't come from the grocery store. I mean, like a lot of people think. And we just go there in the air-conditioned store and get them. But somebody works hard every day, like the Malones or the Hogans, and so many people around here. But you got to protect them. They got to have water. You can't grow crops without water. So,
if we don't have any rain, then there's nothing we can do about that. But
that's right.
It's you take every measure you can to prevent other things from happening that won't make anybody happy.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, last thing before we go. I know you met a lot of new friends in the legislature. I know that's had to be a positive part, because I knowing you like I do, and we love meeting new people. And the Alan Peaks, we mentioned him earlier, the World, or Bubba Ritz, or Sharon Cooper, or just name people that I've also met. But tell me about that part. Hadn't that been an exciting part?
Oh, it's great. I mean, even within position with the caucus chairman, I've been traveling all over the state, going to different events and with these, with all the legislators, and it's awesome. I mean, and not just our party. I mean, I've met friends from all over the state.
That's right.
And it
no matter what.
It's all.
Right.
I mean, it's great. Yeah. I mean, it's and everybody, everybody likes to talk about the family and the children or something. You always have, right. you always have something to talk about, and it's amazing the friends you meet, the other friends you have. I mean, it's great. I mean, that is, a great part of what we're doing, and that's a lot of meeting them and getting to know them is a lot about, has a lot to do with getting legislation passed.
That dialogue,
right? You got to know people, and you got to know whether you trust them or you don't.
And that's what we're missing in Washington.
There's none of that.
Yeah, getting to know everything you just described. And not saying there's not good people, the Johnny Isaacsons and, Saxby and people like that, but still, there's no dialogue. They don't get to know each other.
And there's, one thing that we do that they don't is, we meet. Mm-hmm. And we have one room that we're all in. Mm-hmm. And I tell people, when you come up and visit, after we do our sermon and our pledge, it looks like there's mad chaos. There's a lot of stuff going on that's routine stuff, but it's the one time of the day that we're all supposed to be in that room. And if there's somebody you've been wanting to catch and discuss something with, that's when you go find them.
They better be there.
So
in the cloakroom, huh?
And they don't do, and that's, that doesn't happen anymore because they can sit in their office and vote. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot to be said for that. Of course, there's 35 of them.
That's right.
There's 180 of us. So, I mean, there's a little different, but still, it would be a time when everybody would have to get together.
That's right.
So, I hope that, sometimes you wish that maybe you could vote if you were in your office, didn't have to be in there, but we need that time together to communicate with each other. So.
Okay, brother. Well, I appreciate the time we had together today.
Thank you.
So beautiful setting.
Warm July 1st.
Good
Lawrence
thing we're
County.
inside.
That's
We've
right.
both been working outside today,
We
haven't
had
we?
fun. That's right.
That's right. Thank you, Matt. Happy
Thank
for
you.
it.
Thank you.
Okay. And thank you for joining us.